Hi everyone, welcome to Retro Games Revived. My name is Sean and I'm your host. Now, I've been a collector for a number of years and I thought why not share my passion now on YouTube. Everybody else is doing it and I've got quite a sizable collection. It's certainly not on the grand scale of other big YouTubers such as Metal Jesus Rocks and The Last Gamer, but yeah, it's a nice little size for myself. At the moment, I haven't really got anywhere to store it. I did have a storage lockup that I rented each week and I had everything set up there. But I've just recently given that up just for the time being. I mean, ideally, I need a larger size lockup because the one that I had previously, it were alright to start with, but I've amassed that much of a collection now that it's just not big enough. Anyway, at the moment I'm just mainly into collecting PlayStation stuff. I have collected for all other systems, but the thing is it gets out of control. For one, the price. As you can imagine, retro gaming has gone through the roof, and unfortunately prices have along with that. You still can get some bargains, and at the moment I'm concentrating mainly on PlayStation 2 simply because the games are cheap at the moment. Currently I think I've got my collection stands at about 600 games, but they're all the common ones, all the sports games, and I'm picking them up between 20 pence each and a couple of pound each. Although I am now getting to the point where the shops that I'm going in to buy the games, I'm pretty much looking through the full stock they have, and I've got everything. So I'm now shifting onto eBay. You've got to do it at the end of the day, but some people are quite greedy, and I don't like that. You know, especially when they're tagging rare. It's not rare at all. You know, when there's 50 odd listings on eBay, it's not rare, and some people are just downright greedy. Anyway, I also collect other quirky collections such as the Commodore 64. I haven't got a big collection of games for that, except the Firebird. That Firebird were a publisher. It were owned by BT Telecom Soft. And at the time they released a budget range. I think Firebird and the budget range were called Silverbird. The full collection for that is 180 titles for the Commodore 64. At the moment, I think I'm at about just under half that. And again, I haven't been able to buy them from the shops. I've had to buy them off eBay. And I've now pretty much exhausted eBay, to be honest. I mean, I've got the list up here on my computer, and while games like Go-Go the Ghost, Freak Factory, Hero, Eyeball, they're all relatively easy to get hold of. There's plenty of them about. Games such as Graphic Editor, what else we got? Mickey the Bricky. Games like that, Netrun 2000, I've just not coming across them at all. And they'll be out there, somebody will have them, but yeah, it's getting to the more obscure games now and I'm struggling to find any. On eBay I did have one good supplier, a guy I was buying from, which I bought most of my Firebird games, to be honest. And again, I've exhausted his stock. So, I mean, I imagine, I'll look every single day. And I imagine at some point or another, some of these titles are going to crop up. And I've got to be quick to snap them up. But it's finding them. And I've yet to actually attend like a game contact type event where you go on the stalls selling games, and maybe I might have a bit of luck in those places. but as yet I haven't actually been to any of these events. So, but anyway, that's a little bit about me. I mean, I'll tell you a bit more in future episodes, but I just wanted this episode to kick off, and I thought, well, a nice easy one to start with is a pickup video. So I'll show you a few items that I've just recently purchased. Well, one or two have been purchased a while back, but I just thought I'd throw some content in. I'll actually start off with the recent purchases, and first one is Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PS4. Everybody knows this game. If you don't, where have you been? I've only bought it because it's gone down in price. There's no way I'll be paying the £50 bog standard version when it first came out. I'm not bothered about buying games straight away. I'm happy to wait for them to come down in price. That was £25 Red Dead Redemption. There's no downloadable content that's obviously being used, but again, I'm not bothered. It's just a game to put in the collection. I know it'll come down further in price at another time, but I did actually want to play it, and I've had a go of it, and it's all right. I had heard other people, other gamers who'd played it, and they said it was a little bit boring at times, and I see what they mean. But anyway, that's Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PS4. Right, I just told you about the Firebird Collection, and I've ordered these two games. We've got Fighter Pilot, which pretty much it's a simulation, but as you can imagine, on the Commodore 64, it basically consists of green landscape and blue sky. I've never played it. I haven't got my Commodore 64 set up, so these games I'm hoping they work. I'm assuming they do work. Like I said, my supplier that I get most of my Firebird games off on eBay, cracking lad, and yeah, I trust that it does work. That it says it works, so I don't trust him. I've been buying the Firebird games from him for about 2 years now. So anyway, the second game is on-court tennis. And it looks okay for the C64. So they're the two Firebird games that I've purchased. Like I say, I probably won't even ever get to play them, really. They're just the collecting aspect that I enjoy. Anyway, so like I said, at the moment my big thing is PS2 games. I did go to the local CEX, which is like a trading shop in the UK. These all cost about £1 or £2. So the first one is Outlaw Volleyball. The Outlaw games are basically sports games with attitude, if you like. And the PS2 games, I'm actually going to, what I'm going to do is I've ordered a video capture card for the PS2. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through, well, eventually all the games that I own, and just do a little review on each PS2 game. So, but that's coming up in the near future. Second game is Herberts Do, and that looks a decent game, to be honest. Says it's a 3D action adventure, and the graphics look pretty good on it. So when I do the reviews, I'm toying with the idea of using the old gaming magazines format. I think Zap 64 and Crash, and I ain't looked into it. And I believe they used to use graphics, sound, presentation, overall gameplay, I think, yeah, and overall I think they had 5 categories and they rated each one out of 10. Sorry, they rated 4 of them out of 10, I believe, and then the overall was a percentage of 100, from 100. So I might do it in that format, you know. End of the day, it's a retro channel, retro gaming channel, so why not do it like they used to do it? Anyway, back to the PS2, and we've got Outlaw Volleyball Remixed. Not quite sure what the difference is with this and the one I've just shown you, Outlaw Volleyball. Probably new characters, and I've actually looked at a couple of videos already on YouTube with these, and they seem really, really cheesy. But you know, that's how it is. So the 4th game is Project Eden. I have actually had a quick go at this because I do buy games consoles, obviously, and I like to clean them, strip them apart, clean them, put them back together. So obviously I needed to have just stripped one down. I needed to test it, so I thought, well, I'll put Project Eden on. First reaction, not that impressed. I think the control system appeared to be a little bit awkward. But anyway, I didn't give it much of a chance. I only did it to test that the PlayStation were working once I put it back together. So the next one is, it's light gun compatible, sorry. Gunfighter 2 Revenge of Jesse James by Ubisoft. Not quite sure how that works, because light guns don't tend to work on modern TVs. So now whether the PlayStation 2 probably came out as we were still on CRT tellies, so probably would work back in the day. I have got 2 old TVs. I've got a black and white TV from the 1970s, which still works. I bought that off eBay. I'll tell you another story about that another time. And I've got a portable colour TV, a little CRT, which I bought a bundle of games consoles, software, a massive haul it was, from a lad at work, and in my opinion it was a really good bargain. So, and he took that in as well for me. He says, hey, there's a colour TV there for you as well if you want that. I said, yeah, I'll have it. So that was Bullfighter 2. I do apologise if I keep digressing onto other subjects. I'm normally quite shy, but once I get rattling, that's it, yeah. So again, on the Outlaw series, we've got Outlaw Golf 2. I didn't have any of the Outlaw series up until the other day when I got these. Again, it's the sports games with attitude. I think you can even beat up your caddy if you start losing. Anyway, and then lastly for the PS2, Dynasty Warriors 2, or however you want to pronounce it, Dynasty Warriors 2. It's a well-known game, fighting game with weapons. I've never really been into the one-on-one combat games. I'm just a button masher when it comes to them, and hope for best. My favourite types of games, new generation consoles, and obviously first-person shooters. Sports games really not my cup of tea neither. But I'm more into the older systems, to be honest. Up, down, left, right, one button for fire. That's that's about my standard. One of my all-time favourite games is a game by Interceptor Software, and it's called Trolley Wally. It's basically a platforming game. You're in a supermarket. You've got this like Pac-Man character with legs, and you have to go around the supermarket collecting items, taking them to the checkout. And the amount of hours I put into that game, and I've still never completed it. It gets really difficult. It's one of those games as well where some of the levels, even though it scrolls and follows you, some of the ladders that you come down, or the slides I should say, just lead you straight to a death trap. It's trial and error, unfortunately, on some parts of that game. But that is one of my all-time favourite really old games. Newer ones, well, I've always, and I still am, a big fan of Shenmue, however you want to pronounce it, on the Dreamcast. Absolutely love that game. In particular, the arcade section in the original Shenmue, with Space Harrier, which is another of my favourite games. Arcade Space Harrier is phenomenal. Love it. Anyway, that's the games. So I'm going to show you a bit of hardware now. And the most recent one is this PlayStation 1. It's boxed. It's in decent condition. Well, the console's in brilliant condition. The box is in fairly decent condition. It's obviously got the wear and tear you'd expect from cardboard. It had tape around it, so I had to take the tape off. But it has left it on. It has pulled in certain parts. There's a rip down at the bottom there, which I'm quite concerned about, because obviously all the weight pushing down on that. That were taped up, but I hate seeing tape on boxes, so I made the decision to take it off and just hold it underneath with me hands when I'm handling it. But it'll be put into storage anyway. I've got plenty of PS1s if I need one to play on. So this is just for my collection. But it was from CEX, and it was £32. So, bit of a controversial item. It's the PlayStation Classic. As you can imagine, or as you've probably seen yourselves, there were a lot of controversy about the games that were preloaded with this. A lot of people, I should say, weren't very happy with it. Myself, I think it's fine. There's plenty of games on there which suit me. There's always going to be the odd one or two that I'm not interested in. Anybody's going to have that. But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil, cracking game. Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy 7. You know, them three alone are worth it in my opinion. Grand Theft Auto original, Abe's Odyssey, Persona. You know, Intelligent Cube. Well, I didn't realise, because I've always known that game as Karushi, and I used to love that game. Loved it. I've only had a quick go on it, and it's amazing how crap I've got at it. I used to get to a few levels, but I can't get off first level on that now. I've had a quick go and I've put it away. Again, not because I'm not interested in the games. I'm just more of a collector, and I want it to stay nice, and I want it to stay in mint condition. So that's a PlayStation Classic. Also recently acquired, this was part of the deal that I've explained about earlier. So obviously it's PSP, and it's the 1003 model, and it's in cracking condition, and it's lovely and clean, very few minor marks on it, and I just love the PSP. For me, I take my PSP on flights. I like to play some games while I'm jetting off on holiday, and I think now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've got 5 PSPs. I've got the pink one, limited edition pink, and various other models of the PSP, and 1 or 2 of them, I believe, do have some kind of hack where I've got a couple of discs loaded with loads of games, and I can load, I've got the memory card and I can load certain games onto them, and then they're preloaded into the PSP. Yeah, I know it's naughty, but I didn't do it. I just bought it like that. So, but yeah, that's me console of choice for my flights. That's pretty much it for this initial video. Like I said, I've got loads of stuff. I just need to dig them out now because I ain't got them set up anyway. I will show you some more stuff as we go along. I'll just show you what I do when I've cleaned the computer up, the console. Basically, like that PS1 there, I've cleaned that up recently. I've just labelled it what it is. There is one in there somewhere, but I put the silica gel sachets in just to soak up any condensation, any moisture. Not that there should be anyway, but no, so there it is. It's down at the bottom there. But I just like to make sure. Obviously this was an unboxed one, but I've cleaned it down, stripped it down, cleaned it all up. All the plastic's being washed and scrubbed with a magic eraser where there's any marks, scratches. But it's so easy to do. It's really not rocket science. In fact, these are probably the easiest consoles to strip down and clean, and you bring them back as good as new. The only fault with PlayStations, especially older ones, is the lasers. And at one time I would have recommended just buy a cheap one from China, but you soon learn that that's really not a good idea. I'm afraid you end up, it's a complete lottery whether they work or not. And I've had many lasers from China arrive and they just don't work. Luckily, I've only wasted a couple of pounds on them on each laser. But lasers are becoming a bit quite hard to get now for a decent price. It all depends on the laser model number, to be honest. But I do now tend to shy away from spares and repairs. I just like to buy, especially boxed consoles that I know have been tested and are already working. Even so, like I said, I still strip them down and clean them up because, to be honest, you don't know where they've been sometimes. I mean, I've had consoles that have been really dirty inside, the fans have been clogged up. And sometimes, you know, it's nice to have a clean console, even though you can't see inside. I know that inside it's clean and it's not as good as new, but it's what's the word, refurbished, been refurbished. But yeah, that's a little insight into my gaming hobby, especially collecting part of it, and I will show you a lot more. I do have a lot more to show you. So, and then like I say, I'm hopefully going to get up and running with the PlayStation 2 game reviews. I'm choosing PlayStation 2 because I've got that many of them. PlayStation 1, I think I've got about 150 titles for that. The trouble is that they're just becoming so expensive to get older nowadays. So PS2's really easy at the moment and cheap to collect for, and that's purely why I'm concentrating on that. PS3 actually are coming down in price, and with the announcement of PS5 possibly next year, then hopefully next year PS3 titles are going to drop a lot more in price. So that's a good collection to start with. If you're new to collecting, my advice really is to go with something fairly new retro, if you know what I mean. PS2, Nintendo Wii, PS3, Xbox 360, the likes of those, because collecting for older consoles is very, very expensive now. If you've got plenty of money, then fair enough, go for it, but my advice would be to start with something a lot newer. An example, like with the Firebird games that I've told you I collect, I thought, well, I'll go on to the something else as well as collecting for those. And I thought about one publisher on the Commodore 64 I used to love was Thalamus, and there's only, for Commodore 64, there's only 15 titles. You think that's easy to collect for. You go on eBay, the cheapest are starting at £20 at least. Some of the games, the rarer games, and they can actually be classed as rarer games, you're looking at £80 to £100 each. It's a lot of money, and alright, it sounds minimal, 15 games to collect, but if you were to pay prices that they are, you're looking at over £600, about £600 if you were to outlay it straight off. So I have got a couple of titles, Thalamus titles already, and I've even got Q-Dex, I believe it is, and that's actually, the inlay is signed by Oliver Frey. He was the artist for the inlay covers. So I'm quite pleased with that one. There's a lot. It's not rare. You know, there's still copies of Q-Dex signed by Oliver Frey on eBay. It's just little things like that you know, we may be in 20 years time, then it could go up drastically in value. So there's a lot of games at the moment, in my opinion, they're ridiculously overpriced. I can't remember off the top of my head. I was looking at one game and it was something like £250. Might have been a Spectrum title. In fact, I believe it was a game by publisher Ultimate Play the Game. I mean, that's only a small collection to collect to them, their games, but they are really expensive titles to buy. So anyway, again, I'm waffling on, and I'm pretty sure you're bored of me already. But anyway, I'm Sean, and this is Retro Games Revive. So until next time, it'll be pretty soon. Goodbye.